And speaking of borders, let's talk about Finland. Finland is building a border fence with Russia. We'll tell you why, but first the backstory. Finland and Sweden are brothers in arms. Finland was part of Sweden for 700 years. Then it became an autonomous part of the Russian Empire. Today it's a free country, it wants to join the NATO. It was supposed to join the NATO along with Sweden, but Sweden has hit a roadblock and Finland doesn't want to wait. So in preparation, it is building a border fence with Russia, a 200-kilometer long fence. It is meant to boost security. Look at this map now. Finland shares Europe's longest border with Russia, a 1,340-kilometer long border. Most of it is covered by wooden fences. But now this Nordic country plans to spend $400 million to build a border. If the idea is to stop a Russian invasion, it's a bad plan. A fence will hardly do that. But Finland has its reasons. It says a lot of Russians are entering its territory, especially since September last year when Putin announced a partial mobilization. A lot of people who did not want to join the Russian forces are said to have crossed over to Finland. They jumped over the wooden fences. So now Finland is building a 10-foot-tall wall laced with barbed wires. The fence also sends a political message. For years, Finland stayed neutral. It had decent ties with Russia and it consciously chose to not militarily align against Russia by joining the NATO. It had a partner in this neutrality, Sweden. But Russia's invasion of Ukraine made them rethink. Both Finland and Sweden feared they could be next, the next in line after Ukraine. So they want to join the NATO now. They want to secure their borders with Russia and partner with the West in the fight against Russia. Sweden, like I said, has hit a roadblock. I'll explain in a bit. But Sweden cannot join just yet, and Finland doesn't want to wait anymore. Its parliament began a debate on Tuesday, a debate on expediting their NATO membership. It's only a matter of time now, and Sweden is nowhere in the picture. Finland and Sweden joined the European Union together. That was back in 1995. They were pretty upbeat about joining the NATO together too. They wanted to send a powerful message to Russia. Listen to what Finland's Prime Minister had to say.
We're yet waiting, and of course this strains the open door policy of NATO as well. It's to do with NATO's credibility because we fill all the criteria. But as Jens mentioned, this is in the hands of Turkey and Hungary, and we are waiting for their process to finish, hopefully sooner than later, hopefully before Vilnius meeting in summer. But we don't know. It's in their hands.
It's in their hands, she says, in the hands of Turkey and Hungary. What role do these two countries have to play? Finland and Sweden applied for NATO membership in May last year, but Turkey objected. It said Sweden and Finland can join only if they satisfy some conditions. What conditions? Expel Kurdish groups. What are these groups? Turkey calls them terrorists, but the Europeans call them critics of Erdogan. So there's a deadlock. In January, it got worse, especially for Sweden. A copy of the Quran was burned in Sweden, and that too right outside the Turkish embassy. Turkey called it Islamophobia. It cancelled talks on NATO expansion. Here is what the Turkish foreign minister said this week.
All of these activities continue in Sweden. We are not just saying this for the actions of burning a holy book, the Quran. The incident is a crime of hate and against humanity, regardless of which holy book or which religion it is directed against. This action is an unacceptable crime against humanity. As the international community, we have to fight this. But on the other hand, there are commitments made regarding NATO membership. It is not possible for us to say yes to Sweden's NATO bid before we see these steps.
NATO üyeliğine evet dememiz mümkün değil.
So Turkey's stand is quite clear. It may relent on Finland, but it won't say yes to Sweden. What about Hungary? Why is Hungary stonewalling the NATO bids? Their president, Viktor Orbán, is famously at odds with most of Europe. He now says there's a serious debate on NATO expansion and that Sweden and Finland have been spreading blatant lies about his country. Remember, the European Union also froze funds belonging to Hungary. So Orbán is getting back at them. Let me tell you what he said, and I'm quoting. How this argument runs: can anyone want to be our ally in a military system while they're shamelessly spreading lies about Hungary? certainly not comforting words for Sweden and Finland. The Hungarian parliament has begun a debate on NATO expansion, and Finland might stand a better chance if it decouples from Sweden.